Hey everyone, my name is Andrew Davis, and you're watching Conversations in Pop Culture, and we are back to the basics. And I want to remind everybody that my friend is sponsoring this episode, Preston Poulter from Pocketjack Comics, who have books like Battle of the Golden Princess and White Lily, and he is being currently distributed by Filbo Distributions. So go check out what they do over there. But enough about that, because I have with me comic creator Holly Golightly. So welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited because you've been around since the '90s. Without putting an age on you and dating you.
You can age me and you can date me. I am not shy about that.
So obviously you've been around for over 30 years in
Yeah.
comics, and you have done, I think, a little bit of everything. And
Yes.
so obviously we're gonna get into some of this stuff. We're gonna get into some of the Archie, some of the other stuff you've done. But why don't
Okay.
you quickly introduce who you are? Because there's some people who know who you are, there's others who don't. And well, I want to get everybody to a base level before we dive into some of the cool stuff you've done.
Okay. Well, hi, my name's Holly Golightly, and I'm a comic book creator. I write, I pencil, I I do complete comic books. I am vice president of Jim Fallon's BroadSword Comics. I have worked for Archie Comics starting in, I think, around 1997. And before that, I worked for a bunch of independent comics. And now I'm 26 years publishing with Jim, with Broadsword. I have my own title called School Bites, which I'm actually working on launching a Kickstarter for next month.
Yeah, so let's talk about Broadsword, because
Yeah.
Broadsword has done a lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool
Yes.
stuff. Obviously, I'm gonna go a little bit out of order here, but you've done, I think,
Yeah.
Vampire. Wow, I can't speak
I
today. Wow.
actually, first Vampire was from a first published in 1996 through a different publisher. And that was a creator-owned project. And then when we started Broadsword, I republished it under our title.
And then there's a few others. There's a few others that I enjoy, that I want to picking up, doing a little homework, which is Three Little Kittens, Perfect Weapons.
That's Jim's. Yep.
Which is this, and I know you're the colorist and you're involved in that. I know that's that right there.
Yes, I colored and lettered. Yes, that's Jim's project that I colored and lettered. I think it was done in 2001.
And then the one that I think you're the most heavily involved in is Tarot Witch of the Black Rose.
I actually, that's all Jim. I did do colors and lettering for some years, and now I do lettering and production. And I organize like the Kickstarter, and I do fulfillments and stuff. But that's 100% pencils, inks, colors, all Jim, all his covers. Sometimes I do variant covers on that, which is fun. But yeah, that is his flagship comic title.
Because and correct me if I'm mistaken, because I think part of the character of Tarot is kind of based off of you a little bit. And I
Ye-
think, right, and I know you've done some photo stuff with it. I know you've done
yes.
some calendar stuff. Like, that's where this gets really interesting, right? Because it's 145 issues. I know that there's a bunch of photo covers you've done. I know there's a
Actually,
bunch
it's
of
146 now. Yep, yeah. And I do spokesmodel. I did spokesmodel, like, um, when it was appropriate for my physique and such, back when. And but Jim actually had that idea long before we met. It was sort of synchronicity that we kind of just connected. And but I'm sure because we're both artists, we inspire each other. And he appears in my work, and I must appear in his in different ways, just because we influence each other being artists.
because the reason why I bring it up is that I like those covers, and this has been going on forever. This series since 2000, and
Right.
you have a bunch of appearances, and so it's so interesting because I think I could say this is that it's very rare that I think you see a husband and wife working in comics together in tandem, and I think it's a
Right.
very cool thing when that happens. And
Yeah.
when for lack of a better word, it's a family business because
Sure.
it,
Ma
it,
and
it,
Pa.
so I mean, I don't think that's a secret. If that's a secret, I'm sorry, but like that's
No,
so
why would that be
interesting.
a secret? No, it's like Ma and Pa, and all the comic books are our kids.
No. The reason why I bring it up is that because some people want to keep things private, some people keep lives private. But I thought it was public, so I thought it was okay to say. But
Yeah, it's
that's what's so
fine.
interesting about this whole company is that it's a husband and wife working together, and it's so rare, and it's so nice to see it in comics when it works because it doesn't happen. And I've seen things where things have also fallen apart, and to see it exist for 26 years is amazing in of its own right because the odds of that and you two are killing it, right? And that's like
Thank
what's
you.
great about it. And so that's my whole thing is that's what I think is so interesting about this and everything that you've done and all the little other stuff you've done. And it's amazing to me because how many series also go 146 issues also that
Oh,
you're involved
well, that's all Jim. He's amazing. His mind is just constantly telling stories, and he has such a it, it's such a living, creating, doing everything. It is, it's impressive. It really is, and it's inspirational for me. And I think ever since I was a little girl, I always dreamed that I wanted to be with someone I could co-create with. Since I love creating, I love doing. I've always loved doing businesses since I was 5. I had my first lemonade stand in Manhattan. Um, I just love everything, from the conceiving of, to the creating, and then to bringing it to the audience. I love the whole experience. I don't feel that just creating and doing is enough for me. I need to connect and make sure that everyone is having a good time.
And then let's talk about your thing because your creator-owned series
Mhm.
is also fascinating. And I don't know if cute is the right word, but it's fun. It's fun.
Kawaii, cute. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. I was always influenced by Japanese culture, and Speed Racer was my first crush. I love anime, classic anime, some new anime, but a lot of girly anime. I don't hide that I am very girly, but I love, the warrior energy. I love fashion and just kawaii culture. We went to Japan last year for our 20th wedding anniversary, and just, I had to go to like the Maid Cafe, and that's what inspired my new story, where my characters will be going to Japan to start a vampire maid cafe, because my book is called School Bites, and it's about young vampires who have been created and kind of left to their own survival, and then are collected and brought to a place called the Shadow Academy, where they're taught how to drink responsibly and to fit in with society. So,
Let me ask this. So what is that like? Because I'm not necessarily a vampire reader, right?
mhm,
And it's not my cup of tea, but I
mhm.
like chibi, I like cute, I like Japanese culture, and I like things that I can like kind of chill out on my Friday night and escape the chaoticness of the world. Because I think, and I don't know how you feel about comics, but my view of comics is that I want to spend money to read something that takes me out of the insanity of our world. It's meant to be an escapism, and
Yeah,
I don't want over dramatized. I don't want to experience trauma when I'm reading comics. I'm trying to
I
escape
understand.
that whole position, right? And
Sure.
there's a time and place for it. And so, like, what is that like? Because I view your book as an escapism, right? And it's
Yeah,
supposed
it's a
to
romantic comedy. I do have there are relationships. I say it's about food, fangs, fun, fashion, and friends. Um it is, I like to also say that I feel like my calling on earth is to create oases of fun, and to bring the beauty I see out there in onto my paper, and Yeah, I agree with you. I never wanted to write a and they save the world kind of stories. They're very interactive. They were inspired by growing up in art school, college, high school, friendships, relationships, but they happen to be vampires. But my vampires actually in this school, they don't drink much blood, and if they do, they're baddies. That's what they're taught. They usually dine on cupcakes, candy, and other sweets, because of certain special things that they go through. But you have to read the book. I won't tell you everything. But yeah, there's not a lot of neck biting, and if there is, it could be a little sexy.
So to even go further into that too, do you feel that this type of book also lends for, more fun art styles and I guess kind of new school, I guess is how I describe it?
I
Because I
guess
feel like
so.
if you have a fun book, you could
Mm,
really do fun covers and fun variants, right? Like
yeah.
and you could go and you could throw everything into a variant, right? I mean, one of my favorite variant stuff that the company is My Little Pony. They've done some
Oh,
crazy variants of like bakeries and all.
dude, we're gonna have a My Little Pony variant. I have a friend, Mary, who worked for My Little Pony, and she just did a pinup.
I mean, I had Sarah Pritchard on, I think, or Richards on. I forget exactly what she does. She does all this My Little Pony stuff, and
Oh.
like I think she's from like Salem of all places. So it's such the weird. Like she's in rich culture, and she's in like in My Little Pony. It's great. I love it. That's how I view this. Is that because the My Little Pony stuff is just balls to the walls ridiculousness, and it's so like new
Oh.
school hi-fi colors, and I just look at it, I'm like, man, I feel better about life by looking at these covers. Like it's terrible. So like that's what I think.
No, I think it's like it's some sort of like sweet dopamine hit, that's what a lot of that eye candy is for, is to make your brain happy, and that's wonderful. And I think that is probably the safest, happiest way to like chill out. You know what I mean? Because I don't drink, I don't do drug, I never did drugs. Um, I just love movies and art and Star Wars and cartoons. And I always say I party like an 8-year-old, like going to Disney or Universal. I love Harry Potter. Um, just I find that there's so much already. I don't want to numb myself out. I'd rather be aware and vibrant and connected to all this fun stuff. And
See,
I hope that's what you find in my art.
I'm such the opposite. So I'm not a drug user. It's not my thing, but I do enjoy having a beer on a Friday night. I enjoy having my
Yeah.
whiskey, and I enjoy just sitting and chilling out and like reading something that's ridiculously like fun, stupid, simple. Like I love like 8-year-old dad jokes. Like
Oh, me too.
yeah, it's like this is what at my job
Cat
every
videos.
oh my god, just
Um,
just terrible. It's like every Monday, me and my coworker, we exchange dad jokes, and we're not fathers at all. And everybody just looked at us like all of the rest of our coworkers are like, "Why? Just why are you two doing this?" And it's great because we were both laughing. And the goal is to make the other person break first. Is the goal.
oh,
So you have all week. It's a fun game, right, at your job. But anyway, I want to get into some of the other stuff you've done because you've done some covers before we get into the Archie
yeah.
stuff. Because that's how
Yes.
I know your stuff because you have a very cool cover coming out that is
Which
definitely.
one?
I mean, you got three technically, but I was going with the Mario one that I'm excited.
Thank you. I had so much
I'm
fun
so
doing
excited.
that. I'm an OG gamer, so that meant a lot to me.
We're going to talk about that in a minute here because I do have to talk about Dan Mendoza and Nightmare Lynch because I like both of them. I like their artwork, and I think you've done stuff for them. I'm not exactly sure
Yes.
the order I
Yep,
put this
I
in,
did that.
but I love this style. I love what Dan Mendoza does. I know you've done this for, I think, Nightmare Lynch, I think it's
Yes,
your name.
I did that one.
And then this too, and I know
Yeah,
you are a cat person. So
I am.
so
Nightmare, she did art edit. She was my art editor on that, so she did guide me. She told me what she wanted, and I created that for her.
So what is this like? Because it's this whole vibe of like rock and roll cats, and it's really a fun cover. It's really a fun cover, right?
Well,
And
that's her character, and she assigned it to me, and I grew up in music, and I love rock and roll, and I love cats. I did Josie and the Pussycats, so it's second nature to me. That's my Archie style, and they asked for it.
okay. So
Yeah,
that's a perfect segue into the Archie stuff because this is what I know you for. So obviously you have done so much work for Archie. I
yeah.
think you have at least 80 to 100 Archie credits, if not more, in the
Wow.
comics. At least I'm probably getting it wrong by at least 50% here.
You
But
probably know more than me. I just did it. I'm like, oh wow, I did that. Because when I was working for them, I was it was my head was down most of the week just getting the stuff done, and I'm proud to say I'm good at hitting my deadlines, and I did.
so I could say a million things about that, and a lot of people are not in comics, but I don't want to bash anybody too hard here in that realm. But how did you even get involved with Archie? Because if you came in around 96, 97, I
Yeah.
mean, that was over
It was
25
before
years.
the internet, huh?
Internet was just starting,
Before
right?
social media. Yeah, I mean, I did the old fashioned way. I was leaving an independent company that I was not happy with, and Jim would buy me Betty comics to perk me up. It just made me happy. And I was in bed, just reading. And I said, you know what? I wonder if I could draw for them. I love these comics. So I did some samples, and I found the address for Archie Comics, and I mailed them with my phone number. And I got a phone call, and it was Victor Gorlick. And he said, I like your samples. I want to see you do a tryout story. I'm going to send you a script. I went, okay. And he sent the script, and I started to cry because I was scared. And Jim said, you can do this. So I did it. And it was a story about Archie shopping in a supermarket. And I sent it in, and Victor said, okay, good. We're going to give you work. And I started working from there.
So let's even go into this a lot more because you're interesting with this in a lot of ways because you wrote for Archie and you did a bunch
Yes.
of writing for them. You've done pencils for them. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've done colors or inks for
I
them.
have in a pinch. When I was on Cheryl, Victor called me up and goes, "Look, we need a colorist. Do you know how to Pantone color?" I said, "No, but I can learn." So I did a crash course in that. And gosh, those aren't my covers though.
I know they're not your
Um,
covers, but I did pencils on them. You did
so I
writing.
learned how to Pantone color, and I think the story that it was when she went to Scotland. I had to color that one, and it's not normal. You literally have to like put numbers and things. So it was really interesting. And I love to learn, and I love like the production of a comic book. So my hands were always ready to be on deck, whatever was
The
needed.
reason why I asked this is that I think it's really interesting, and it's a real advantage, I think, for an artist or a writer. So if you can draw your comic book,
Yeah.
you know, especially on an indie front, it
Mm,
saves money, it helps, it reduces costs per se of producing the book. Because if you're
yeah.
just a writer, you got to go hire an artist to do it. Or I mean, in a lot of ways, just
Yeah.
but it also is a versatile skill. If you're the writer and you could draw, you I think have a better understanding of the process. And I mean, I think
Mm.
comic writers are excellent.
Yes.
I mean, I'm trying to navigate the question here.
Oh no, that's it's a truth. It's not even a question. And I also, when I was in college, I studied acting, and in acting, I studied directing and script breakdowns and all of the things that I never knew that I would use in my career. So when I started writing scripts for Archie, I would do it, and I went to Parsons School of Design and I studied storyboarding. So when I do a script, I'm literally storyboarding. So when I sit down, I wrote a recent story for Archie that was the Spirit Slayers. And at the time, my schedule didn't allow me to be able to pencil, but I was very interested in writing it. I was very excited about it because I'm a huge Huntrix fan. Um, so I had 5 pages to tell this story about this band. And I knew that I had to break it down visually, and then work it. I do it visually. I know what they're saying in my head, but afterwards I'll type up the script and look at the pictures I drew. And then that uh bunch of pages of layouts, I'll send that in as well as a clean script that's typed and all fancy, to Archie so they could send it to the artist. And I was so pleased that Rich, who drew it, is that I'm hoping I'm remembering names right because that's one of my challenges lately. I know his last name is Butler because it's funny. I'll go, okay, his name is Butler because that's such a cool name, so I might forget his first name. And it's not because
Was it Rich or was it Steve Butler?
Is Steve. That looks right. See, I'm all visual too. So I always see Butler and I think of him as Cadbury from like Richie Rich. That's
Because Steve Butler
my crazy brain. Uh, so that's probably why I think of Rich, because Richie Rich. All right. So you saw the madness of my mind for a little while. But anyway, he wrote me, he said, "Oh my God, thank you so much. This script was so fun." And that was like the best compliment ever. Because I know that sometimes when I get scripts from a writer who isn't an artist, I have to really work at it. And sometimes there's an action in one panel that's like two things, and like, oh, you can't do that, that's a different beat. So like I'll have to sit there and sometimes rewrite for the the images, the breakdowns, the visuals. So I'm trying to do that before the script is polished. So whoever, whether it's myself or another artist, when they get it, they'll know what goes in the panels. They'll know the layout of the page. If they want to play with it, that's up to them. I would never, want to like bum out someone's art vibe.
So it's so interesting, right? Because I haven't done a comic book. I don't want to. It's not my cup of tea. I'm a better technical writer than a creative writer.
Yeah.
I like building like guides to how to like do Photoshop. Like
Cool.
I enjoyed that a lot more. Than anything else. I'm a weird human being. I'm creative.
No.
I love technical guides.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I love
yeah.
writing in that style. It also just I think I would fail at it. So I'd rather not put myself through the humiliation and the frustration. I'm not
Well,
the first person to say where I'm at, right? But the point is that I find it so interesting because giving direction, giving clarification, giving instructions to say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, because I've seen and I've interviewed probably 800 people in comics, and there are good people who give directions to their artists, and there's people who don't, and there's artists who know how to interpret a script, and there's those that don't. And because I could hand somebody, you could hand the same script to 10 different people, and they're gonna have 10 different reactions
sure.
to your script. And that's awesome because depending on the artist, it could also be they're just having a weird day. They're just having a weird day. Like I was speaking to an artist, he was having a bad breakup in a stretch of 3 months, and he killed like 9 characters in a book. He was just having a bad 3 months. I'm like, I understand why you had to kill all these characters off. You were just in a bad spot. And
Yikes. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say what book it is.
That's very cathartic.
He's having a bad day. Oh,
Yeah.
clearly having a bad 3 months.
And I just want to put a pause there, is like to touch upon what you said about yourself. When I was growing up, I have dyslexia and I hated reading. My parents were both avid readers. I struggled in English. I did better in French. Um, I was made to feel that I couldn't read well, that I wasn't good at writing, and I grew up to be a writer. So, you know, be mindful about what you say about yourself, or even ignore what other people say about you. Because if you feel you want to try to do something, or no, try, Yoda says there's do or do not. If you feel that you want to do something, do it. Don't worry about failing. I mean, that's what art should be. It should be authentic.
It's not
It's your
even that. I
expression.
like for me. I like writing nonfiction, right? That's my
That's
whole thing.
cool.
So,
I
so
like
like, I like writing nonfiction. I like writing about financial stuff. Like, I just don't like want to go out and create a comic book. Like, it
that's
doesn't
fine.
have
But
the
don't say it's because you're gonna fail.
No, no, no. I'm gonna fail though, because it's like the reason why I say it is that I'm just so not interested in it that I'm not gonna put the
That's
effort into
fine. That's
it. And
cool.
so but like when I'm writing about finances or I'm writing like nonfiction or something, I'm like, man, I'm so immersed that like I want to like do the greatest job on the planet. And like 9 hours later, I'm like, damn, it's 4 a.m. What the fuck? Like,
That's great. That means you're in the flow. You're doing what you're meant to do.
so like
But
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
anyone listening who thinks that, oh, I don't want to do it. I don't want it because I'm afraid I'm going to fail. That I just wanted to say, please, don't be afraid of that. Because the worst thing is to regret never trying to do it or do it.
I had a guest on, and what he said in a previous interview, he said, "You're never really going to fail because you're going to learn something from your experience.
That's true
You know,
too.
you could have a bad outing in a business. It doesn't mean that it means you had a bad outing and your business didn't work out, but you learned something from it. Hopefully, you learned something from it, but you learned something from the experience, whether
Right.
the idea worked or it didn't work. Your next idea, you're gonna have a better sense of what to do and what not to do. But I digress, and it's a very important thing to say. So you're never ever, I guess, failing. It's just you're learning something and you're learning what not to do the next time or what to do the next time because it
Yeah.
go both ways. But I want to get
Just
back to Archie
keep on
because
swimming.
I like Archie. You
Yeah.
mentioned Josie and the Pussycats, and I
Yeah.
think you did these. I think you did these.
I did do that.
And I think you might have done this one too. I think, or maybe no. I'm sorry. You. I think you
No,
did this one. You did
that
this one.
one, yeah. But
I
I
don't know
did
the name of
draw in
the
that other style before I did my run on Josie. They asked me to draw in the TV cartoon, which I did do a few stories in that style.
So what is
As
that like? Because if you're a fan of it and then you get to do it, I mean, how many people get to live the dream? I mean, let's just call it what it is. Like,
ah, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's like playing with your friends, your childhood friends. And I guess I don't think a lot on it, but like there are moments I've gotten weepy, because I feel so grateful that I'm doing something that I love. And for the longest time I had no idea if people were enjoying it. I did a couple of classes at Comic-Con and taught some kids how to draw Archie and stuff, and that was lovely and I loved it. But I it's just recent because I think a lot of those kids grew up that I'm meeting them and they said that they really enjoyed it. And I actually taught for 1 year out of college, pre-kindergarten. So for me to be able to connect with young minds or older minds, connect with human beings and make them happy, I think that's pretty awesome. And then work in like work with characters that I love because I'm not a superhero comic book person. I never have been. I love superhero cartoons and movies, but as a kid, and a grown up, I prefer to read horror, comedy, romance, science fiction, fantasy. But I'm not a superhero. And the funniest thing is, then Archie threw some superhero stories at me. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And Jim's like, don't worry, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. You'll be able to handle it. And I thought I did okay. But I'm sure that it was more Archie than superhero.
See, you're mentioning something that's interesting though, because I mean, obviously, I love the history of comics. So, the history of comics, there was superheroes and it was not superheroes, it was slice of life. And superheroes
Right,
came back in the 70s.
right.
Super fascinating if you look at the history of DC just alone. I think what was it from the 1950 like to almost 1965? There was almost little to no superhero stuff. It was weird. It's a weird time. Like those 15 years, there was still superhero stuff, but there's a lot more just like this is your life. Fascinating, and a lot of that stuff was good. There was boys comics, there was girls comics.
Yeah.
Super fascinating when we
I
look
love
at the.
Katie Keene. I love all the Archie ones. I love Little Jinx, Dots, Richie Rich.
So like
Um,
the reason why I
yeah,
bring this up is that I think there is a position where people say, "Look, I don't care about Batman," and Archie fills that gap. We have something like My Little Pony fills that gap to some degree. We have, maybe Sonic the Hedgehog to some degree. And I know you
mhm,
haven't worked on some of these titles and these properties, but I think there's something to be said about, well, maybe people, a lot of people don't want to read Batman and they don't want to read this. They want to read something of Archie and the gang hanging out because there's something
right,
about Archie and the gang hanging out, and it's kind of like I'm not saying that this was my high school experience,
right.
but it was there's semblance and there's things that are familiar in Archie, and I think
Yeah.
that's so interesting is that like because there's this whole other thing that I don't think gets spoken about in comics, but obviously Archie's been around forever, and there's a reason why because there's something there that people can
Mhm.
relate to, and it's an alternative to the big dominant corporate superhero push that it's
Yeah.
now maybe or maybe not falling apart, but that's a different debate for a different day. But like that's what I think is so interesting, right? Because
Yeah.
you're not a superhero reader per se.
No, I'm not. I prefer to draw on what I love. And that's why my own books that I created, they 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 emulate what you're talking about. Sometimes I lose words. I apologize. Menopause is a bitch. um, their genre is about relationships, and I find that more interesting. Like I said, I studied theater. I was a child performer, so for me theater is about relationships. um and I like to write from my own experiences. So there's going to be a lot of me in the stories that I write for Archie, in the stories I write for myself. My own experiences are in there. There's a lot of honesty. I was a teenage girl. So when I'm writing about teenage girls, it's from me. I lived it. And my best friends were teenage girls. So I'm not kind of fantasizing about what a teenage girl is. Uh, I'm going, no, this is it. So when I wrote Cheryl Blossom, it was very important for me to make her an autonomous character. She wasn't just a temptress. I didn't see her that way. I didn't judge her that way. I saw her as Cheryl, who this was her family. She was incredibly wealthy. She was talented. She was self confident. She knew what she wanted and had a voice. She was, what we call now a queen. Um, and she was Beyonce. She was Queen Bee, and she had insecurities. She had challenges. She felt lonely, because she was unusual. Uh, and so I put a lot of me in that.
Because again, you're touching upon something where, I mean, I'm all for diversity if it makes sense and it's written well in comics. I don't want something just put in there and written shitty, right?
Mhm.
For the sake of something being put in
Right.
there and then you got to check off a box. I want things to be put in there and then utilized and be put in there and written well, right? I'll give you an
Authentic.
example. Miles Morales' Static Shock,
Yeah.
right? I think Static is such a well-diverse comic and
Yeah.
represents, a black superhero, and it's written great and it's
Right.
brilliant, right? And it's not just we're putting it in there for the sake of putting it in there. So we got to check a box off. And I think it provided such a unique perspective. And so when somebody is writing Betty and Veronica, it's okay to write a fun Betty and Veronica. They're at a beach trying to get a tan. Nothing wrong with that comic, right?
Right.
Trying to get a tan. They're trying to figure out how to get Archie Andrews, right? They're both competing for the boy. That's a perfectly fine story. But when you start getting into things like insecurities and what you were mentioned,
Yeah.
we're now getting past this idea of just telling a one layered story and we're
Right.
getting beneath the iceberg. And I think it's really important sometimes to do comics like that, you
Right.
know,
I
and
agree.
get into that. And but you don't have to do it all the time. But like
No.
if you have a 5 issue story of just, Cheryl Blossom trying to find a dress for prom, that's a perfectly cool story too, if it's 5 pages, right? Because that's also a perspective because, I have a sister and she's had crises when she was younger of
Sure.
trying to find the right outfit to go to a dance. And those are
Right.
not fun days in my house. They were not. Very so but I think it's so interesting because and this was back like 20 years ago before this was even front and center. That's what's fascinating to me. I mean, I find it so interesting that it's just like because it probably holds up. And again, it's crazy. Just it blows my mind is the point I'm making. But I digress. I digress on that. And then you did Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which is cool. And I like that I remember that show back in the day.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, that was very exciting for me because I was very proud because uh I I am a witch. I practice the craft since I'm 8 years old. And so I am proud to say I am the first witch who drew and wrote Sabrina. And when I did that, I wanted to bring a perspective from living sort of a magical life uh, to the pages and portraying the other witches in a certain light that was not done in the past. So I was really glad that the aunties weren't uh, portrayed the way they were, that they were two beautiful women who were a bit quirky as well. And they were raising their niece, who was a teenage girl who just happened to be able to zap things. And not that I can yet, I keep trying. I could do this. So, but that was a lot of fun. And I loved writing and drawing Salem because I love to draw animals and I'm a cat person. So that was groovy. Um, and yeah, I really enjoyed that.
And then I mean, it's just so many Archie stuff, so many digests, so many other stuff.
Yeah.
And then we get to the more modern stuff, which is the fun stuff, which is where I think Archie and I mean I might be putting my foot in my mouth, but I think they evolved. And what they really did that I think was cool is that they started to get into really the cool variant game and into these cool spectaculars. So I think you did the Valentine's Day stuff, some of that.
Right.
You did some stuff on the Christmas stuff. I think you've
Yes.
done a bunch of other cool like one shots. I have a few of them up. Hopefully you did this one. I think
Yeah,
it's yours,
that was
which
the first story that I wrote coming back to Archie, and I got to create Joe LaKitt, who is the drummer there, with the blue hair. So, and I again, I've always been very connected to music and the whole idea that women can rock. I had been watching a Netflix movie called Metal Lords, and that really inspired me. And I wrote a story and pitched it to Archie, and I worked with my editor, Mike, who's wonderful. And we bounced ideas off of each other, and what came out of it was rock candy.
because it's cool because obviously that's your cover, that's your story,
Hmm.
and this is where I think it's really cool is that we now enter this whole variant game that Archie did, and these awesome covers, your
Right.
your stories in them, you know, and then you have all these amazing people doing stuff with them. I mean, Dan Parrott is one who's just like does so many cool stuff, and then you have all these comic companies do variants as well, and like that's where this gets really cool because they're doing some really cool stuff. And your stories are in the book, and
Mm.
maybe it's not your cover on it, but people are reading it and picking up your copy. I mean,
Sure.
Archie did Grease. They've done all sorts of weird combinations. They've done like all these other cool stuff, and like your stories are in there. And then it's the spectaculars. You got Josh Burns playing around in this, and like I don't know what that is like for you, but it's kind of cool that like Archie's now hip and they're doing these awesome variants and like
The
you're
funny
part of
thing
it.
is, I never thought Archie wasn't hip. When I first got the
That's
job,
not what I meant.
no, no, but it's true. 30 years ago, I really thought Archie was the end all. And then like I was told, "Oh no, people make fun of that." And I guess I feel okay saying it because I remember that Stanley said he was embarrassed to say that he was a comic book artist to people. And I couldn't for the life of me even begin to think that that was ever a problem. And then, so when I got the job of drawing for Archie, I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. But I didn't know that back then um, it wasn't considered hip. But then again, I never worried about those kind of things. So I was shocked that, what do you mean it's not hip? What do you mean people make fun of it if you work there? You know, that's their problem, ain't mine.
Because the way I view it is that it's like whenever a company, and Great Wall is one of them, is doing all these cool Archie variants, it's kind of like, oh snap! Like I don't want to say Archie made it, but like now they're in a really cool position because these stories are getting picked up, and now people are viewing this stuff and people are saying, well, this Archie cover is sick, and then it's all this pop culture stuff, and like I feel like okay, like you know, Archie has now evolved and now they are doing really cool things that people stop and say, man, I'm glad they did this cover over here. They did this thing over here. They're doing cool stuff over there. This art is sick, right? Like, because now they're talking about cover art with Archie. You're doing cool story ideas on top of it. And it's kind of like a cool combination where I don't feel like it's being rejuvenated. I feel like it's a fun spin and I can't explain it just as a collector where
Right,
I want to have this Archie book in my collection now.
right,
And I think 5 years ago, or maybe 10 years ago, that wasn't the case with Archie. It was cool
right,
stuff, and I enjoyed reading Archie. But now I'm not. I'm like looking at this. And I'm saying this is some cool cover stuff that's out there, and this is
right,
really cool art. And it's almost like this pop new school vibe that like you look at it and I want it in my collection. And that's where I
right,
think Archie's got it interesting. That's even like some of your work. I mean, we showed this one, but
right.
that's kind of the vibe there.
I have a variant that I did for that cover. That you can only get on my website, hollysheart.net. So
And,
I myself have some variants that I did for myself.
and it must be so cool, right? It's so cool, right? Like to have an Archie variant, right?
Well, I guess I say it differently because I'm not a collector. I'm a creator. So for me, it's just okay, I'm gonna have some fun. And I like the idea of making people happy. So
I'm
that's the
so
cool
different.
part.
I'm so different. There are moments in my life where I'm like, man, I made it, right? And that that's how I view it. There's about 5 moments where I'm like, man, I made it. I finally made it. And and they're all weird. Like I sold out a panel room in the Javits Center at a
Uh,
con. I sold it out
right.
and 50 people couldn't get in. I'm like, man, I made it. I made it, right? It's like the weirdest feeling. I wasn't paid or anything. I was just a fan panel. And I'm like,
Sure.
there's 2 other professional panels going on next to me, and they're not full, but mine
Right.
is. I'm like,
Well, that's wonderful.
I'm like,
Congratulations.
man, I made it, right? And I was so happy. And it's such a weird circumstance, right? And then there's been a few others, like some interview stuff, and I'm like, man, I made it, right? So that's how I view it. But I'm so different than everybody else, right?
No, everyone is, doing your own thing. I wouldn't
Well,
worry about
if I was an artist
it.
working on a company and I got my own brand, I'd be like, man, my first one, I made it. That's how I would view it. But that's just me, right? But I do want to talk about the stuff that is coming out, because I want to talk about this one first, because you have a free comic book day
I
book you're
do.
in. So,
Yeah,
so
that
May
that
2nd.
Jughead and hot dog, I drew that.
So this is going to be cool. This is going to be a fun
Mm.
one.
Yeah.
That obviously, nothing. I don't want to ruin it, but it's free comic book day, Archie. You can't go
Mhm.
wrong with it. So that's
And
coming
I'm
out.
going to be doing a free comic book appearance at Oh Yeah's store in it's I think Rye, New York or
It's in Harrison. It
Harrison.
used to be my local
Harrison.
shop. It used to be my local shop.
Ah, well, that's where I'm doing the appearance. May
I used
2nd.
to live in New York, and used to be my local shop that I would go
Cool,
down.
cool, cool.
And Mark is great. Franco's great. Um,
Yeah.
It's a funny story about that. They had Chris Daniels, Kazarian, and the Young Bucks. So while they were all doing Death Before Dishonor, Ring of Honor, and they created a print, and they were all signing for free, and the print was $20, and there was like 19 people, arguably some of the 4 best wrestlers in like the last 30 years in that shop, signing for free, and 19 people there before wrestling like major promotion. And then what wound up happening is that the Young Bucks are vice presidents in AEW, which is the competitor to WWE. And like nobody, hey, this is like maybe like 2 years before, and those prints were like $20. And like I think Mark in that shop had them for like 6 months, and like they weren't moving, and it was crazy. But I couldn't go, so I had to send somebody in my stead to go. My parents. And my parents were speaking to Chris Daniels and Kazarian, and then the Young Bucks were these like nice, young, respectable guys. Like, would you like to take a picture with us holding our tag team titles to my parents? So that's on my Facebook page. And but yeah, great shop, awesome shop.
Cool.
If you've never been there, and then it's such a cool vibe, and they're awesome. I don't know if they sell their pinball machines though. In that shop, I don't know if they do, but because I haven't been there in a while, but really cool shop. So
Cool,
so
cool.
it,
It'll be my
the
first time.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, I know. I think Adam Hughes was supposed to be there, but obviously he's having some health issues. But and then is Dan Parrott going to be there too?
Yeah,
I think.
he'll be there too. And Jamie, my writer or Archie's writer. I get possessive. My writer,
Yeah.
Jamie.
So we were going to talk about that. I was going to mention that. Hey, but we might as well promote it now. It's an amazing shop. Just an amazing shop. What they do. And they're doing some really cool stuff. And they got really cool people lined up for a bunch of signings. So can't say enough good things about Oh Yeah Comics. But I want to talk about the other 2. So I'm saving the one that I'm excited for last. But we got this one coming.
Yes.
So Ginger Lopez. So And I love this art. I love this art. Like
Thank you. I worked really hard because for me, what was really important was that Archie was fashion forward. All the women and the young men were wearing what teenagers wore. And I was in fashion when I got out of college, and I did 1 year of teaching, and then I started my own fashion business. And before that, my mother was a model, then a designer. So I grew up in the fashion industry. So to me, fashion is paramount. Okay. It's a way of expressing yourself, and teenagers use it. So I spent about couple of hours researching, because obviously I'm not a teenager anymore, even though I dress like an 8-year old. Um, I spent about 2 hours researching, and I found that TikTok was the best place to see what are teenagers wearing, and like the kind of pocketbooks that are in, the style of pant, the t-shirts, the hair, glasses, earrings, everything. So I got that all together. I was given a layout on this cover. So I knew what it was going to look like, but I got to dress them and draw them and everything. And I did a ginger story. I think it was a Halloween story. Um, so I knew the character, and I knew that she was very fashion forward, and that's why I took it very seriously. So I wanted to make sure that she would be happy with me.
because
They're alive to me.
it's also 85 years of Archie. I mean, that's the other thing too, is that
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
mean, I had a conversation with Paul Levitz. How many things have survived 80 years in America? And are still relevant.
Right.
Um,
Disney.
very few. I mean, Superman is going to be up there. Batman's going to be up there.
Right.
Archie's on his 85th anniversary, and so I think it's important also to, for lack of a better word, not fuck it up, right? Like,
I don't I
I'd rather be
never
like,
think of that. I don't have that pressure. I honestly don't.
well, I have that pressure for
As an
you.
artist, I'll look and go, "Oof, I could have done this better. I could have," but you know what? I'm going to let go and give space in my brain for something new. But um, like I said, these characters, what's important is that I don't disappoint them. I Ginger is into fashion. I'm going to represent her. Betty is about being compassionate. Veronica is about being stylish but popular. I I I'm acting, I'm living through each one of these girls. I won't say the boys. I could do Jughead, because I could put away hot hamburgers and hot dogs. But but I feel that I'm giving them voice. I'm giving them vision, them a body to be seen and a voice to be heard. Um, I I honestly, I think I'm just not put together in my mind about the other stuff. It doesn't.
Because the reason why I'm bringing it up is that
Yeah.
anytime you get to work on something that is significant in an anniversary, to
Mm,
me, it's a big deal, right? And I understand that maybe you don't have the pressure, but like
mm.
when you are trusted to work on an 85th anniversary thing that Archie's pushing out, and with a bunch of books, I mean, it's a big deal, whether it's acknowledged or not. I mean,
I
I think
think, yeah, I think, my editor knows that I put all my heart and energy, soul, whatever, into my work. So it's a mutual thing, and I know I trust him that he's there, and he knows that I'm there. I think that because I've had my own businesses, because I've always been a creator, I I look at it a different way. I always say, have you seen or read, A Christmas Carol or the movie Scrooge, the one with Albert Finney in it? One of my favorite movies. And my idea of business is Old Fezziwig. You if you can make people happy, the people who are working there, the people who get your product, that's what it's about. You know, it's not the other stuff, because that other stuff, it's not going to matter, you know, in the long run. But if someone picks up a book, you know, that I did 20 years ago, and it wasn't like a number 25, it wasn't a number 1, it wasn't number 50 or 100, maybe it was like number 22, and they read it and it makes them giggle or remember something, that to me is more precious than anything.
You're so optimistic, man. I
Oh
should be
yeah, oh my
like
god, I will gross you out. I am a Betty.
it.
But yeah, no, I'm a joyful utopiast.
I am pessimistic.
I've been accused of that. But
The-
I've done it. The thing is, I am doing it even. So I mean, I'm so proud of what Jim and I do, because we're two people and we're still doing it in 26 years later, you know?
See,
and
see,
and
see.
people love it. They're so happy. You know, if you come to my Whatnot show, I do on the weekends, mainly Sundays, but today, I mean, this week, Saturday and Sunday, we're doing a puppet show. You know, hold on.
I. Oh my god, this is gonna be so bad.
All right. I have to fix my hair though. Hi. I gotta fix my hair. But this is Puppet Holly.
See, I don't do a Whatnot show. I just break open cards on YouTube, and I enjoy doing that, and I have a good time
Sure,
doing it.
but you can come visit, because even on my Whatnot show, I say if we hit $1,000, I'll actually karaoke for you.
See, I just, my whole position is that I enjoy ripping open up cars, and I know people live vicariously. So I'm not interested in selling you anything on my YouTube show, but I am interested in interacting with people, and I do. And so, like, I get the whole thing of selling happiness, right? Because it's fun to open up rare stuff, like my Disney Neon, which is sold out on Tops. So no, this is not for sale, but I am going to be cracking this open eventually. So super cool, and I understand everybody's upset that I didn't get one. I got mine, so I'm very happy. That's gonna be awesome, but not the point because I love Disney. But I love the
Too.
fact that you're optimistic because I am a pessimistic, which means I'm always right. Eventually, eventually. But I digress because I want to talk about the last and I am a big Mario fan. I love Mario.
Yeah.
You did pretty much the whole book on this, pretty much. I mean,
It was only 5 pages. Oh, I didn't see what there was more in it.
I mean, you did the cover. You
Yeah,
did your
yeah.
story. You
Yeah.
wrote it. I mean, after the cover, I just stopped. No, I don't think it come out. It's not even out yet. I think.
I didn't think so. I was like
Yeah,
looking
no.
around. I don't think I had my because sometimes they reprint backup stories and stuff. So I didn't know what
I have
was.
a copy of it coming. I don't even know what's in it exactly. So in my defense, though, but it's Mario is Archie. Jughead
Yeah.
is Luigi. I think Betty is Peach, right?
Yeah.
I think. I mean, sometimes I
Yeah.
get things
Well,
mixed.
she's not Peach. I dress them that way, you know.
She's cosplaying Peach. Let's put it that.
Nah, you got to read the story and see what happens. There's no cosplay happening.
I'm just calling it like I see it. I'm
I
purposely hooking
understand.
the characters up because people know the characters, right?
And Veronica's Rosalina.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was trying to get there faster without like speaking 10 words. But
No
the
worries.
idea is that we all know who these characters are, and we know the Mario movie, Mario Galaxy, just came out, and that's what makes that cover great. And so, what is that like? Because that's the thing about that cover is that's why that cover is fun, right?
Yes.
Well,
that's something. Yeah, Archie. Again, like I said, I felt Archie is about fashion, and Archie is about, well, new, what's happening, what's in the moment, what's popular. And that's very important when I'm doing a project. uh you look what movies are coming out, what TV show is popular, what band is popular, and how do you integrate that into a story for the kids. So that was what I'm glad that I can't remember how the idea came up, whether I came up with it or someone else did, because it was probably in the back of my mind. But honestly, at this point, I can't remember. But it was a no brainer for me. I mean, that was so much fun. And I am a gamer, but I'm more of a dungeon crawler. I did play Sonic, I did play Donkey Kong growing up. I had Pong when it first came out. My grandfather gave it to me. I guess I was 7. Um, and when I did Luigi's Mansion. I was that was my favorite Mario game. We played Mario Karts. We've been to Epic Universe. We went to Mario Land. I ate Princess Peach's cake, all of it, me. I had so I love the first Mario movie. How you say things relax you. I literally put that on for us to so we can go to sleep. Um, and I did as much research that I could before I wrote the story of what was going to be in the movie, without it ruining it for myself or the audience. And also, I purposely played Mario Galaxies, so I would have a little something something going on because again, I want to be authentic. I don't want to pretend that I know what I'm talking about. I want to know what I'm talking about.
I like this cover. Obviously, I have a copy coming my way that I ordered, so
Yeah.
it'll probably be here in like 2 weeks though, because it's just shipping is just whatever. But I don't mind
Yeah.
waiting because it's a personal book. It's for my personal collection.
Cool, cool.
Because I like the cover, right? The story is gonna be great, but the cover just makes me smile.
I'm glad. I'm glad you like it. I was so happy I got to do everything on it: pencils, inks, colors.
So like I could go through my bin and covers make me smile. So that's the answer sometimes is that
Yay.
something just makes you smile and makes you just forget how you problems for 20 minutes. That and Stitch make me smile.
I have
Um
Stitch.
I love Stitch. I love Stitch.
Me too.
I am hunting down rare Stitch cards. So when Topps did the live action, they did all the Disney stuff, right?
Yeah.
The short prints. I have 3 out of the 4 in graded copies, and I'm hunting down the 4th, and I can't find the 4th in a graded copy in my PSA vault at a reasonable price. So I'm just waiting for it to come because I love Stitch, but it's so cute. Stitch is trying to eat the genie lamp from Aladdin. Stitch is trying to eat the
That's
apple
cool.
from Snow White. He's got the rose from Beauty and the Beast,
Yeah, yeah,
and then the best one is Stitch with Cinderella's shoe.
yeah.
So I love those cards because they're
Uh-huh.
fun. But I love Lilo and Stitch just calms me down, and Mario stuff calms me down, and this cover is just awesome. But
Yeah.
I digress right there on that. Obviously, you got a bunch of other stuff, but I do want to talk about this because I think this is yours, and I'm curious how you feel about it because I love Culture Club.
Oh my my Boy George illustration. Yay. Yes, I love Boy George. I love Culture Club. I illustrated that for him. I gave it to him. We had a meet and greet. He played in Bethlehem and at Wind Creek. And when I was 18, I started my first business and it was hand paid t-shirts. And I would paint giant portraits of, you know, actresses, rock stars, movie stars, whatevs. And one of them was Boy George. I would paint him all the time. He had such beautiful eyes. I still have sketches of what I was doing then. And to meet him in 3D was very exciting for me. and I have a photo of us all meeting together. And I gave him the illustration and a fan letter and all my comic books. I'm a huge fangirl.
Have you seen Boy George, old Boy George, holograph next to real Boy George on stage?
No, that must be so cool.
It's so trippy. So essentially, it's a duet with Boy George, and,
Wow.
it's real. It's not. I mean, I don't
No,
know.
I know. I understand.
It's one of the trippiest things I've ever seen. It's like Hatsumiku all
Right, right,
over
right, right. That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
with
yeah,
Boy
yeah.
George, and just instead, and it's amazing because he's looking at himself. It's looking back at him. It's such a trippy thing. It's on YouTube. When you get the
That's
chance, you
so
gotta go.
cool.
It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And I forgot what they did. They might have done Karma Chameleon, which is
Oh, I love
or Do You Want
that.
to Hurt Me? I forget which they did.
See,
But my
now if
favorite,
you came to my Whatnot show and I made $1,000, you could say, sing, Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? And I would for you.
but my favorite Boy George song is Church of the
Is,
Poison Mind.
oh, yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, yeah.
Because it describes how my mind thinks. And I take this song very differently than everybody else takes it, and they're just gonna leave it at that. But I love Church of the Poison Mind because
Cool.
it's perfect for me. It describes exactly who I am in so many ways. But I digress. And then obviously, I mean, before I give you a chance to promote yourself, I am just curious in which that obviously you have been in Archie on and off for the last 20 years or so. And what is that like? Because I know you don't like the compliment, but I'm not going to call you the Queen of Archie. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give you that title. I
I
promise.
wouldn't mind if it was true.
but, but you are versed in Archie, and you've seen the evolution of Archie,
Yeah,
and even the writing style, and even how Archie has a writing style and forward, and even situations with Archie, and the evolution of the character, and even how it's adapting to our world. Because you're one of the ones that when you've spent 20 plus years in writing on and off characters like this, I mean, you've seen the evolution of, I guess, Archie and even the writing style and all this comic stuff with it, because Archie from 1996 is not the same as Archie in 2026 as far as how comics are produced, writing, and even what people are dealing with. But
right.
situations are similar and they're same in certain positions, but they're also very different. And so I'm curious how you feel about that, because you're in a unique situation in that one.
Well, I think in some ways I'm in a bubble, and uh I don't know if my writing is much different from back when I started, because again, it's coming from me. And uh gosh, and I'm
You
so
can plead the
busy
fifth.
and
You can plead the
focused.
fifth. We can talk about Boy George instead. You can plead the fifth
No,
anytime.
I have no fifth to plead. It's coming from an honest place. I think again, as someone who's a creator, you kind of live on your little island and you work from that. And I'm not a historian, and I'm not going to pretend that I've read every issue that has been sent or I've seen, or there's been so much. Plus, we're so busy with broadsword that I really don't pay attention to other people's business. It's not my business. It's my business when I get an assignment. It's my business to know what my editor wants. Um, and it's my business to make sure that when I write the kids, when I draw the kids, that they reflect today. So like, back when I was drawing in the late 90s, I was drawing um phones a lot different. And when I write a story now, I make sure they have an iPhone. I think they have a bubble tea in one hand. Well, they are living today. So I think as a creator, um I connect to the Archies in that way. It's my responsibility to bring them alive today, um in the most honest way that I can. So That's
Fair enough. Fair
me.
enough. I have an Archie history book. That's a great book by Craig Yo. And Craig Yo wrote that book, and it's amazing. It's just an amazing book, in that
Yeah.
regard. So it goes through a lot of the history of Archie. Maybe not last 10 years, but really fascinating book. Because Archie's been around forever. But I digress right there. But obviously, you've been doing this forever. I probably could have gone another 5 hours with you easy, and then not run out of content. We didn't even really touch much of a lot of stuff you haven't done. I mean, when you've been in the industry for so long, there's just so many things. But I wanted to talk about the Archie stuff because that's what I know you from.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I don't talk a lot about it. So if I was awkward, I do apologize.
No.
It's
I was just
lovely.
nervous because I never know what anybody wants to talk about, and like that's the thing. I'm like, the Archie stuff seems so much cooler to talk about than anything else.
Oh my
Because
gosh, yeah, 100%. I love talking about Archie, I and there's so much that I slipped into when I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So I wrote some Archie stories that had kind of Star Wars references.
my point is that I love talking about Archie because nobody talks about Archie, and it's great. And that's the issue. And Archie is just so amazing and so fundamentally significant to comics. And I love Archie. I read
Thank
Archie
you.
stuff, and I mean, my favorite thing is Life of Archie. Favorite Archie story of all time. Issues 36 and 37 when Archie gets killed. Not because because he gets killed taking and saving Kevin Keller. I mean, the
Right.
book's been
I
out for
heard
like,
about
like
it.
10 years, right? So interesting, so well written. I think Mark Waid wrote it too. And
Mhm.
like that's what's crazy is that like all these great people have written Archie. And it's
Mhm.
amazing to be in that and be in that company. So, in regards, and I would love if I ever write a comic, it'd be fun to write Archie. Just five pages is all I want. But I'm not there yet. I'm not there if I decide to go that direction. But enough about me because the show is not about me. But I do want to give you a chance to self promote yourself. So where can people find you? Check out your website, social media, whatnot show. Obviously other things you do. I don't know what else you got, but you got a lot of stuff that you could sell them.
Okay. Well, my website is hollysheart.net. And on there, you can find connections to the Whatnot show, to the appearances that I'm doing, to the Kickstarter that's coming. My projected date is May 19th, and that will be for, I have here's my blue pencil for one of the covers. So
That's fucking wild. That's just wild.
those are my characters, Cherry and Fujiko, and they're going to Japan. So it's School Bites Tokyo Kawaii. So that'll be launched then. There is a preview page right now. The link is on my website. My Facebook is it's Holly Witch. Our Instagram is BroadSword Comics. You can see all of Jim's books and even some of mine on jimballant.com. There's lots of information there. You'll find Whatnot links there. Usually my Whatnot show is Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also do little YouTube things. I'm trying to remember it's Holly's Heart, I think, is of my YouTube channel. But you can find all those links on my website. Doing the store appearance on May 2nd at yeah. And Jim and I will be doing Lehigh Valley Comic Fest. I think it's June 6th and 7th. I'm trying to think what else. We'll be working on a new tarot Kickstarter, um, probably this autumn, if not sooner. Sign up for our newsletters, say hello to me on social media. I'm really groovy. If you ever see us, you could stop, say hello. Bring your comics to any convention. We sign for free. We do free sketches when you purchase something at our table. Um, yeah, all is cool. I can't think of anything else right now. I like watching Hot Wings, the hot ones. I like competitive eating contests. That's my sport of choice. Watching Beard Meets Food. That's fun. I love playing Dark Souls, Skyrim. I don't know. At this point, you may have to shut me up.
So I have nothing to say. Nothing to say. I have nothing to say. Which that I am nice and boring. All I'm gonna say is that I am gonna be probably getting hammered, and I'm gonna be in about 30 minutes offline, probably till Monday at 4 o'clock because well, it's WrestleMania weekend, and I'm
I'll
gonna
be
go.
drawing. I'm working on this sketch cover for Sunday's Whatnot of Morticia. Oh, you want to see the Harley one I get?
I love Harley Quinn. I love Harley Quinn.
This one will be for Saturday.
I'm so jealous. I don't have the skill to draw. My brain doesn't work that way. I could short a stock and be really right. I just can't draw a stick figure. The best I can do is drawing a stick figure, and I struggle with that. It's terrible. I respect artists because I can't do what you do. I just can't. Yeah, I am perfectly fine with my limitations. I am perfectly acceptable with my limitations. I do okay. I get the privilege that I get to interview people who have skills that I do not have skilled. And so that's where I sit on every issue here. But obviously it's my show, so I'm going to promote myself. Obviously I am on Twitter, but unfortunately I did not change my banner yet because I got suspended on Twitter, but not for the reasons everybody thinks. Apparently Twitter is a fan of the New York Mets, and I decided to criticize the New York Mets, and they've decided to ban me because I get very creative when my sports teams do not do their jobs. And I got very creative criticizing the Mets, and they viewed it as an act of violence. I viewed it as an act of change and reform to make this a championship team. So
And
clearly,
that's why I only watch competitive eating.
a bunch of people agreed with me and thought that my act of change was justified. I thought my act of change was justified. I did the same thing to the Yankees. Twitter had no problem, or X had no problem me criticizing the Yankees. So we now know where they stand in baseball. So if you want to attack a team, do not attack the New York Mets. Every other team's fine, just not the New York Mets, because Twitter/X is a Mets fan. So I'm working diligently and hard to get my account back. So, and I will be in full support of the New York Mets. They're doing everything right. I just want to make that crystal clear. So you can't follow me there, unfortunately. But I did create a new account where I'm actively and persistently praising the New York Mets that his name is King Nine. So, that is my new account, and I am in full support of the New York Mets. I want to make that crystal clear here. So Twitter, you're watching, /X. Let's go Mets. Instagram, Pop Anime Comics. Facebook, Pop Anime Comics. TikTok, Pop Anime Comics. YouTube, please subscribe. It means a lot to me. It makes me warm and fuzzy. I got like 1,300 interviews on YouTube. So I cannot promise I will make you smarter. I can assure you that you will be entertained. I can assure that you'll be entertained. You may or may not get smarter from me speaking, but you will be entertained for sure. That's YouTube for you. And then I do run a card show where I do card education and open up boxes like Disney Neon, which is a lot of fun. And that is Big Boy Card Collecting on YouTube as well as on Instagram. And I do a lot of stuff of when cards are dropping, when they're going to come out. So if you want to be informed in the space, you can go to Instagram, Big Boy Card Collecting, YouTube, and I keep people informed there on drops and some cool stuff in that regard. And then the final thing I do is I have an eBay store. Look for
that's so cute. It was so cute.
Come shop with us on eBay.
I could draw that.
What'd you say?
I could draw her. She's so cute.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I got that thing dirt cheap too. I paid way under what I should have paid for it. Way under. But the person offered and I paid what she wanted. So I don't feel guilty, but I would have paid like 4 times what I paid for it.
Aw, that's so cute.
I love her. I love her. She's been my logo forever. She's adorable. She's cute. It's everything that I wanted in a logo. But yeah, so that's my eBay store, Pop Anime Comics Collectibles. I sell a lot of comics, a lot of cards. And I'm actually building out a bunch of bundles
Mm,
because I got to move some cool stuff, and so I'm building a bundle where it's going to be either 8 to 10 comics, and one of those comics is going to be a limited 15 in
nice.
there. So, and ideally it's going to be either 90 to $100 for 8 or 9 or 10 comics. I haven't decided the exact number. So a lot of cool stuff's that way. So it's comics like this though, right? Bad girl art.
Right,
And
right, right. That's cute.
this is cute.
It is. She's so
I love
cute.
this. I
Why
love
she?
this.
Why can't she be cute?
It's Burissa. I love Burissa, right?
She's so cute.
I have all 15 of them, all 15 of them. So I bought the whole stock. It's a foil. It's a beautiful cover, right? Um, it's a different store for a different day though. That whole issue. And then I sell cards like this in my store, limited 25s. I sell John Cena cards like this, and then I do have one-on-ones like this all the time in my store. So this is the high-end stuff, and in the process, I do have everything from a $3 card all the way up to $1,500 cards. And I've been saying it forever that first and foremost, go to my eBay store if you're looking for stuff and look through it. If you find what you're looking for, make me an offer or just buy it straight out. If I don't have it, shoot me a message because I may have it. And if I got it, I'll list it for you. Happy to sell it to you. And if I don't have it, I have a lot of friends in the industry and I know a lot of people. And I'm happy to direct people to where they can get what they want because collecting is hard. And I have no problem helping people get what they want. So
Aw.
that's my whole thing. And I've done it for plenty of clients because I believe that I have no problem. What is it? Miracle of 34th Street?
Oh, I love that
Proctor
movie.
Proctor told Gambles or Gambles to Proctor. I forget what it is, but basically, or Gimbals.
Gimbals.
Yes. So
If we don't have it, we will send you. That was Santa. Santa did that.
that's where I got the idea from, and
That's
because
so nice. Good for you.
it's altruistic, but it also benefits me as a company because my
Yeah.
clients come back to me and they're
You're
like,
like
"Damn,
old
man."
Fezziwig, see?
So, dude, I'll buy from. I have a client who I didn't have what he wanted just because I just didn't have it. I don't carry the product. I don't
Right.
carry nude books, and I don't carry full frontal books either. Just not my cup of tea on my store. Other people do. So somebody will buy some from me, and they'll buy the regular version of it, but I don't carry
Right.
the nude thing. But
Right.
I know I have a friend who does carry that stuff,
There
and
you
so
go.
my friend made money, and the person who bought it from me he could have bought everything from the same person, but he bought the regular version from me and he paid double the shipping essentially. But because I referred him to where he needed to go, he constantly comes back to my store. So there
Right.
you go. But
There
I
you go.
digress. That's everything I got going on. That's a different discussion for business completely. But that's everything I got going on. So, again, that's everything I got going. Just type in pop anime comics. You'll find me. I don't bite usually. Um, just don't bother me for the next like 72 hours because I'm going to be really hammered this weekend on watching wrestling. It's
Okay.
so don't bother me. Don't disturb me. It's a national holiday for me,
Okay.
WrestleMania. So please don't ruin
Go
it for me.
for it.
No, it's a warning to everybody who's going to see this
Yeah,
right
yeah,
in
yeah.
these hours.
Go
Don't
have
ruin my
fun. Go
national holiday.
forth and wrestle, my son.
Yeah, exactly. And on that note, I'm going to give you the final word.
May the force be with you.
Well, I don't think we could have said that any better myself, everybody. And that is a